can I just say one thing firstly? I love the name Eat Sleep Boxing Repeat.
Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. Delighted to be joined by Danny. We are in final prediction mode, but before we get into our predictions, please do hit that subscribe button on the channel if you're not doing so already. Check out the rest of the content for the rest of the channel for a whole host of boxing content, whether it be final prediction videos like these, previews, reviews, big fight breakdowns, interviews with fighters, and so on and so forth. We've got you covered, so please do subscribe to the channel if you're not doing so already. This is a final prediction video for the Ray Ford against Abraham Nova fight happening in Riyadh on the Moses Itauma Dylan White undercard. Obviously late replacement Abraham Nova for Anthony Kakache. Anto Kakache, a fellow Belfast man like Danny and I, or NI man. Maybe you're not quite a Belfast man, are you, Danny? But yeah, it's a late replacement. I suppose in terms of late replacements, it's maybe not too bad. But yeah, keen to get your thoughts on this, Danny, and what your final prediction is.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. Of course, we've seen much worse late replacements than Abraham Nova. Sort of a perennial contender at featherweight and up at super featherweight. Fought some good names, fell short. Rabesi Ramirez, Oshaki Foster gave a close fight, but his performances since then, maybe not the most impressive. A draw to the unheralded, someone I'd never heard of, Humberto Galindo. A win over a journeyman last time, and maybe on the back nine, Abraham Nova, whereas Ray Ford up at super featherweights looked fantastic. Had been killing himself to make 126. I think we're seeing the best version of Ray Ford at 130 pounds. Pains me to say it, I would have picked him to beat Kakachi, and it'll come as no surprise based off that. I'm going to pick him to beat Abraham Nova. And I actually think he's going to get his first stoppage at super featherweight in this fight. He's been teasing it for a while. He's looked not like a pure puncher, but certainly like there's more digging his shots. And the two fights he's had at super featherweight, both of his opponents have been incredibly negative once they've tasted his power. I mean, I think it was last time out against Thomas Matisse, he was literally running around the ring for the last two rounds. I think this time he'll get it over Abraham Nova, who is tough, who's only been stopped by Rabesi Ramirez, but you mentioned the short notice. I don't think that's going to help him. I don't think the stage he's at his career is going to help him, and I think the fact he's coming against a Ray Ford who's really coming into his own as well. I think Ray Ford will get the stoppage in the mid to late rounds.
Yeah, nice analysis there, Danny. I think a few things to pick up on. I think what you said there, but maybe on the back nine with Nova, I kind of agree. I think if you're looking at it, yeah, I know he's already been world champion, Ray Ford, but up at super, that was down at featherweight, obviously, then losing that belt to Nick Ball. But if you look at him at 130, yeah, as you said, maybe he hasn't got the stoppages yet, but has looked maybe a bit more spiteful. That extra 4 pounds definitely helping him. I think it'll definitely help him in the ring on August 16th as well. He's almost on the way up the mountain still. Like, I think the best's yet to come from him. Whereas you're right, I think Abraham Nova maybe has peaked that mountain and starting to come down the other side. So yeah, I think timing perfect for Ray Ford. Sure, he'll be frustrated as well. With the Kakache fight falling through. I think he was. I'm not too sure what the betting odds were suggesting, but I mean, a lot of people would have made him favourite against Kakache, despite Kakache's, suppose Indian summer, if you like. But yeah, I'm going with a Ray Ford victory here as well, mate. I think I completely see what you're saying about the stoppage, in favour of Ray Ford, and it would not surprise me one bit if that happened. But I'm gonna say, just to maybe be different from yourself, to give it add a bit of spice, I'm gonna go with Ray Ford to win via decision. Maybe secure a knockdown or two, but not be able to quite get the knockout. Abraham Nova will see the final bell, in my opinion. So I'm going with a Ray Ford victory on points, probably a very wide unanimous decision. So that's where my head is at for this one. But yeah, just before we round off, Ray Ford at 130. Out of the champions and the kind of the big names in the division, where do you place Ray Ford? Like, is he one of the best in your opinion? Could he be the best? Obviously, doesn't have the belts to prove that right now, but where do you kind of rank him in the super featherweight rankings?
Yeah, you got to put him right up there, particularly if he comes through Abraham Nova in good fashion, as we're both predicting he will. His form at featherweight very good. Great win over Kolmatov. I thought he did edge the Nick Ball fight, to be honest. Very close fight. And then up at super feather, he's looked fantastic. You look at the champions at super feather. no bad fighters amongst them, of course, but maybe not the strongest. Would you say there's an elite fighter amongst them? I probably personally wouldn't. So wouldn't be surprised me if Ray Ford was to go on and cement himself as the number one in that weight. But obviously you gotta fight the fights and gotta win the fights. I'd like to see him fight Sugar Nunez. I think that's probably the most likely. It would be an all matchroom affair. Sugar Nunez coming off, well, great form in general, but particularly last time out when he became the world champion over in Japan. Very heavy handed, be a great clash of styles. That's the fight I would like to see. I'd like to see him against any of the world champions. I think they're all good fights. I think they'd all be entertaining fights, but if I had to pick one, that's the one I'd like to see.
Yeah, for sure. Do you feel like that the Kakachi fight that'll not even get mentioned again? Do you think maybe that's kind of ship sailed kind of thing?
Don't know. I mean, if Riyadh season want to put it on Money Talks, I'd say both of them probably want to fight for a world title again. Although Anto, maybe more so than Ray Ford's, made no secret of the fact he's interested in the biggest fights, sort of be it world titles or not. Ray Ford, you would imagine, be kicking down the door for a world title. But as I say, if the Saudis want to put that on, I can imagine it would happen. I think if both of them had their first pick of a name, I don't think either would pick each other, to be honest. That's not to say either of them stuck in each other. I think just for what they're looking in their career, it's maybe not what they'd go for. But if I'd gunned them ahead, I'd say it probably won't be one that's revisited.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough, fair enough. I just kind of finish off. I think I kind of can't really disagree with anything you said. It's one of those where I know it's hard to pinpoint one name who you could say is the outright best at 130. I think maybe each of them all the world champions and those on, like Ray Ford, who many see to be perhaps one of the best, but without a belt. They've all got maybe a bit to prove to cement themselves as that number one. It's one of them where on one day, Ray Ford puts in a stellar performance here at the weekend. You're like, oh, he's the best. So, Sugar Nunez then in his next fight, for example, looks destructive again. Oh no, he's definitely the best. So on and so forth. So yeah, I think I'm pinpointing maybe one name, but there's definitely a few good fights out there. But I definitely believe Ray Ford is one of the best and will win it. I think it's more a matter of when rather than if he becomes a two-weight world champion. So yeah, I agree with you there, Danny. That's all we've got time for, unfortunately, folks. As I said at the top, please subscribe to the channel if you're not doing so already. Drop us a like in the video. Let us know in the comments your thoughts, whether you agree with Danny and I, or whether you see a shock victory for Abraham Nova on just a few weeks' notice. Let us know. And yeah, we'll speak to you again soon. Danny, thank you, mate. And yeah, chat again soon.
Cheers, mate. Thanks, folks.